Kara Concheck. Similar to Colleen, this story starts on the same basketball court, but for different reasons. If you have not noticed, Kara is very tall and athletic, and as a freshman in high school, it is tough for the tall, athletic kid to hide on the basketball court, or from the lacrosse coach running the clock, recruiting athletes to play lacrosse. Oh yeah, and her dad played hoops at Ohio State, and he is tall, and he is athletic. And so putting those pieces together, that we needed her to try lacrosse was a puzzle that I could figure out needed to be solved. Kara was a raw athlete. You could tell that basketball was her sport, and she was a focused player, but you could also tell that she was more guarded than Colleen. She didn't wear emotions on her sleeve, so she was way harder to get a read on. Later we find out that that is one of her great qualities, her ability to channel and focus. Kara came to lacrosse as a raw athlete, again, starting quote-unquote late in the game. And when she started, it was rough. Is that fair? Yeah. Okay. As I wrote that, I was like, I wonder if she's going to take offense to that, but it was rough. For people that have not ever played lacrosse, it is tough to understand the steepness of the learning curve when it comes to the technical skill involved in handling a stick, passing and catching, scooping ground balls, etc. And that is just to be able to function on the field. Not to mention strategy or defense trying to keep you from being able to do all of those things well. But again, it came down to if Kara wanted to develop, if she wanted to be good, if she had that competitive spirit. She was really good at basketball, she had played it growing up, and was comfortable. For most kids, that's the path they would have stayed on. And that would have made perfect sense. But it didn't take long to realize that she did indeed have it. She was willing to try and try again and fail again, because she had belief in herself that she could do it. My only job was to build that belief and wait for it to click. Because when it did click, the rest was going to take care of itself. To put this in perspective, as we sit here today, Kara is a college lacrosse head coach. She played Division I lacrosse and graduated from Wellington as one of the most dominant girls lacrosse players in the state. Those three items listed describe someone that grew up playing lacrosse on the East Coast or playing in Upper Arlington's youth lacrosse system since she was 1.5 years old. It does not describe a kid that decided to give a new sport a shot at 15 years old and risk being the really tall athletic kid that couldn't catch and throw or cradle. Which leads to the story of Kara that will forever stand out in my mind. As you can imagine, being new to a sport is difficult. Any of us with kids have watched them play a new sport at 3 years old, and it's difficult. It was difficult for a 5-year-old picking up a baseball bat or a basketball for the first time, and it can certainly be difficult for a 15-year-old girl picking up a lacrosse stick for the first time. And as I said, most kids wouldn't and don't do this. They would be afraid of not being good enough, looking silly, or simply just not enjoying the experience. And most kids certainly wouldn't want to walk into a coach's office and ask him point blank, "Coach, can you teach me how to cradle?" Think about the confidence that it takes to ask that simple question about the most basic aspect of the game. This is equivalent to a 15-year-old kid being willing to try out for the basketball team, yet not knowing how to dribble, while having the confidence that he or she can not only learn the skill, but also develop that into being a star player. Kids don't do that. Kara did that. From the moment she asked me that question, I knew the pieces would come together. I didn't know when, but I didn't doubt that if they would. That simple question showed the confidence and toughness, the competitive spirit, as I've said a number of times about both of them, that was going to have to be the foundation for her if she was going to become what she has become. She had every physical skill set you could dream of as a coach. Big, strong, fast. It's very simple. But her desire to be great, to be a dominant player at whatever level she aspired to play, was going to be determined by her willingness to grind through the fundamentals, accepting mistakes and learning from them. She was willing to make mistakes and listen and learn. She was mature beyond her years, and while she didn't always wear her emotions on her sleeve, she always led by example with her effort and her will to compete. The word I use for Kara as I look back on it, she was steady. And when your best player can also be your steady player, it's a dream come true for a coach. This is why she will make a great head coach. She has grinded to improve. It hasn't always been easy, and she is a steady competitor. The past decade has been quite a ride for Kara in the game of lacrosse. And if you think about it, literally it's been like a decade. And we've gone from, can you teach me how to cradle, to head lacrosse coach of a college program. It's pretty impressive. And while the past decade has been quite a ride for Kara in the game of lacrosse, I cannot express to this group, to Kara, to Joe, how proud I am to not only be here, but to just have been a small part of it and to have seen this happen. And now I'm going to go off script for 2 seconds. Because it is that, as I say, like, kids don't do these things anymore. And with kids I have, even my own kids, like, they want to do things they're good at because it feels good. And I can like it on Facebook or take a picture of it on Instagram. They don't take that risk. They don't put themselves out there with the very, very clear possibility of not being good. And when I tell this story, it is, I mean, looking back, it's hilarious that she walked in and said, can you teach me how to cradle? But as I was talking about this with my wife a couple nights ago, I was talking about the basketball comparison. I say, can you imagine a freshman in high school walking in and saying, can you teach me how to dribble? Because I want to go play in college. Most coaches would be like, excuse me? For Kara, it was not only can you teach me how to cradle, but you're going to, and then I'm going to show you why. And a decade later, we now know why. So Kara, I can't tell you how proud I am of you, and congratulations on all of the success and the success to come. Gotta have the hardware.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I really, really appreciate that, taking the time out of your schedules to join us today. Thank you, Wellington. Thank you, my Wellington family, my teachers, my coaches, my teammates, Colleen. We did everything together. We competed with one another, and you were an awesome, awesome teammate and friend. Thank you to my father. Anyone who knows me knows that my father is my greatest influence and motivator in my life. I didn't think I'd get emotional. I don't wear my emotions on my sleeve. He really inspired me. You know, I'll never forget the first time I picked up a lacrosse stick. I said, what the heck? I was like, the cradling, I have no idea. I'll never forget going to Coach Stewart's office and saying, how do I cradle? And then breaking multiple windows at our house, playing wall ball. And I said, you know, I'm going to be able to catch and throw, and I want to play at the Division I level. Windows broken later, and I was able to do that. And I'm very thankful for Wellington and the opportunities that Wellington gave me in order to achieve the goals that I had. One of my most memorable Wellington moments was going to the Final Four our senior year, Colleen. It was awesome. We lost to Marymount, actually, prior to playing them in the semis. We lost by 1 goal in regular season. Colleen and I, we were ready to play. We said, we're going to win. And we won by probably 10 or 11 goals to propel us into the Final Four. One of my most memorable moments. So awesome. Something that I want to share with you guys that I think is really cool as well is that Coach Stewart would always sign his emails to us as players saying, play with passion, coach. And every game of my college career, I wrote on my arm, play with passion. So I think that's really cool, and I sent him that picture one day, you know, as a reminder. And my dad would always say to me, you have to love it. You have to love it. There's going to be tough days. There's going to be days where you're not sure if you want to do it anymore. But if you love this game, you won't ever stop. You'll be there for your teammates, and you'll show up tomorrow. And you'll put in the work when no one is watching, because that's when it matters the most. And that has always stuck with me. So thank you so much to my Wellington family. It's an honor to be an inductee of the Wellington Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you again to my teachers, who I see many here today that are my favorites. So thank you, not to be biased. But thank you so much. I really am truly thankful. And I'm proud to be a Wellington alumni, and I'm proud to be from Columbus, Ohio. Go Jags, and go Red Flash.